Now then, people, it's Joe, it's all Leeds TV, and it's time for a fans post-match. We didn't do one after Leicester with a quick turnaround, so we thought we'd give you 2 in 1, and I've got a jam-packed group of guests with us this evening, all got very high, decent opinions. That's what we want. We want people to fire out and get the conversation going. There's loads for us to get us teeth into. Obviously, great performance away at Leicester. And then for me, last night, a game that we deserved a hell of a lot more from, However, if you were to read, if you were to look from the outside looking in, you'd think we'd been beaten, we'd been absolutely battered by the way that some of the way social media's reacted. But guys, kick us off. Brownie, I'll start with you, mate. What were your thoughts just on Everton as a whole last night?
I think it had a bit of a feel of the Arsenal game at home. It just felt like we deserved something. Like, I know we got a point against Arsenal, but it just felt like we could still be playing now and we'd still be 2-1. It just was one of them nights where it just wasn't going to go in, despite like the Arsenal game. We could have been playing till a week next Tuesday and it's still finished 0-0. It was just one of them games. I think probably that second half was probably as bang at it as we've been, to be fair. And to come away with, I'd have been a bit gutted with just a point. So to not get anything was a bit of a kicker. But we've played worse than that and won this season. Burnley game, I think we were poor against Burnley, but picked up 3 points. So it was just one of them things where it just wasn't to be on the night, I think.
Yeah, and Olsen had a worldie as well. I mean, for me, this is the frustrating thing, like obviously Rafinha came out, scored early doors, and at that point I'm thinking we're going to get something from this game. If I genuinely believe had Olsen's not had a worldie and not made a save, we'd have scored and we'd have gone on and won that game. The momentum would have just carried us through, I think.
Is there a claim that if Pickford starts, we win that game or at least get a draw?
I think so.
It's just a very Leeds thing, though, isn't it? We come up against a prime sub-keeper like Prime Buffon, like that. Just typical Leeds. All the other teams have, like you said, Chris, Pickford's been throwing him in left, right and centre. They're chucking the rookie keeper and he turns out to be the best thing since sliced. But he'll play for them now, I think.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best thing that happened to them last night, bringing him in to Everton. I think that will kickstart their season a little bit because I think Pickford's affected them massively. He's let in some absolute howlers. And so I still, for the life of me, don't understand how he's England's number 1. No. He's just got a clanger in him every other game, it seems.
Yeah. Stuart Dallas can play anywhere, so they might as well, he's Leeds born, they might as well ship Stuart Dallas in goal.
The pundits are shocking with that, isn't they?
Yeah.
Like when Rafinha scored at the start of the second half, I thought it was going to be a bit like Millwall last season, where we've gone 2-0 down by half time and then we come back 3-2 afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought it'd be like.
I mean, my brother said the same thing. Can you imagine if I know we say every team's the same, but Ellen Road last night, Rafinha just scored and we went and attacked straight away again. That place would have been rocking, and I just think that would have played a massive part, like you said, here in the Millwall game. I think the fans were a massive thing in that game, and I think last night was a night where we could, I don't know, we went straight on the attack straight away from kick-off, didn't we? I just think the Ellen Road would have been absolutely mental after that.
Cooper even said it himself, didn't he? He said that we're missing it. They're missing the fans big time. And I think it makes such a massive difference at Ellen Road. You've seen it yourselves, guys, over the last however many years. There's teams that have just folded when the crowd get going. When that place gets behind them, and when like in the moment, like when Rafinha gets that goal back, that would have been bouncing. And the Everton defenders and the goalkeeper as well, like the new goalkeeper on his sort of one of his big chances to make an impression, he'd have been panicking. Like you get everyone screaming and hollering at him, and that place would have been bouncing. But
it's a completely different type of game, but the Bristol game where Leeds got promoted, the Bristol Rovers, I think that the crowd that day, I mean, we were down to 10 men. The crowd just got over the line. Yeah, it's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? So I think if you look at our results, we've done better, miles better away from home than at home.
We're brilliant away.
I think there's only Scum that have picked up more points away from home than Leeds United this season. you know, and they went on a run of being undefeated away for a long time. I think they've only got 3 more points than us, so we have been much better away from home. Does anyone have any concerns about the home form? You know, because I see it quite a lot. You know, we need to pick up our home form, but we've had 3 wins. You know, Fulham, Burnley 2. You know, a few draws in there as well. I'm not overly concerned. Is anyone concerned about the home form?
Do you know what, mate? For me, I think home and away form, it doesn't mean as much this season at the minute. If it was Ellen Road was full and we hadn't seen enough wins as fans, and then you know what, Ellen Road can be either great for the team or it can be extremely hostile, and then our own team folds under the pressure at times. Not this season. Not lack of home form doesn't bother me. We're going away and smashing teams. Do you know what I mean? We're mid-table. I'm not going to get too upset about it.
I think when you started, I think the fans. I think you're on about the fan reaction. I think we've gone from the last 2 or 3 years being used to winning, and it's not going to be like that in the Premier League. Like there was so much pressure on winning games to get up, because when we were top of the league, it was very rare 2nd, 3rd, and 4th would drop points in the Championship, but you had to win. Whereas if you look at the teams below us now, I mean, the bottom 3, I think they've won 3-4 games between them. I think Fulham, who occupy the last place, they haven't won since November. We've won 5 games since then, so the pressure isn't much. So I think the meltdown every time we lose, I think it's just from expectation of we have to win all the time. But when you actually take a step back and look at the results and things, the teams below us, when we don't win, they're not going to win every game. So we're never going to get sucked in to a relegation battle now. So
not at all.
I mean,
we're too far ahead of it already, I think. Like you look at your likes of West Brom and Sheffield United and that, they can't buy a point.
No. We were too far ahead of it. We were too far ahead of it about 3-4 games ago. I've been saying it for ages. You know,
I think after 21 games, you can double. Well, who are Fulham 18? You can double their points and they still don't get to Leeds.
Yeah.
No way that we're going to get caught. So I don't get why we're having this massive reaction. The other 2 teams that came up with us, that's where we should be. I mean, that's our level at the minute. And we're double the amount of points ahead of them. We scored more goals than them. We've got more wins, more points.
I think we need to sort of level ourselves a little bit. I think we're a little bit victims of our own history as well. Because of the massive history of the club, you've got fans that sort of, as soon as we're in the Premier League, expect that we should be challenging for Europe and top 6 because our history suggests that we have been. So I think we're victims of that in a way as well. And I think people need to sort of put it into perspective of where we've come from. And we are a newly promoted team. And we've got a team that, well, I don't know if you saw the stat a couple of days ago. There was 9 players in that last team, 8 starting players that started Bielsa's first game.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's like we've completely brought in a whole new squad.
And the team that walked off the pitch at Leicester was our full Championship team, wasn't it? Because of Rafinha going up.
Kieran, obviously you're. I mean, I don't want to judge the other lads on the screen, but I think you're a lot younger than the rest of us.
This is my first season where Leeds have ever been in the Premier League. This season.
Wow.
So where's your head at? Because I get what Terry's saying. There are some fans. We are Leeds United. I've seen some fans when Radrazani said, you know, we should go after the Leicester model, and some fans find that hard to accept because it's like, we're fucking Leeds United. Forget Leicester. You know, and I get that, but I don't look at it like that. But I get it. I understand where people's thought process is. But obviously, yourself, Kieran, supporting Leeds, you're a young lad, never been in the Prem. Where's your head at? Are you happy, or do you? I mean this with the best intention, but like I think sometimes some of the younger generation expect money being spent straight away. They want stars in straight away. We need to get rid of players straight away. Where's your head at, Kieran?
No, nothing like that. No getting rid of players straight away. Like, we need to build, but not like strip everything like straight away like that. We need to build on what we've come up with, and we need to make sure that we're not Sheffield United next season. Like, we need to walk before we can run, if you know what I mean. Like,
that great phrase. That is right. It's spot on. Like Terry was saying about the young thing. I've been carried away when we were close to, like, we could have won. We'd have been a point off Devon if we won last night. You do get carried away. But I think, and I mean, this is going to sound crazy. If Leeds were to qualify for the season, it'd kill us next year. We can't even feel a team in the FA Cup. We've thrown away the FA Cup and the League Cup because we couldn't feel that team was a joke. That second half in that FA Cup.
Yeah,
we can't.
Look at what we've done to Wolves.
Had a European competition. It'd be bad. If we would qualify for Europe, it would be great. Like next season, we'd suffer massively. I think it happened to Burnley when they qualified.
Yeah. I don't even think they got through, did they? They didn't even get through to the proper Europa League, like all these years.
Look at Everton's bench last night compared to ours. I mean, it's great to have the young lads on the bench for Leeds, but Everton's bench in comparison to Leeds, it was like chalk and cheese, and I thought I know we got beat, so it's going to sound daft, but that second half, you wouldn't have been able to tell who was the promoted team if you would drop down from that. You wouldn't have had a clue.
And that's where
to say that's the teams that we're competing with. Leicester, they were third, could have gone a point behind top if they'd have beat us.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have been able to tell that. So I just think Costa is here now.
Yeah. Brownie, I'm with it. Like the people in the chat, we haven't got that many in tonight, and I'm a little bit disappointed if I'm honest. But it is what it is. People will be watching the game that's on. I'm trying to watch it in Chris's window here. I can see it in the window there. Spurs, obviously, Spurs and Chelsea are on, but I keep saying in the chat, keep the dream alive, because I'm like you, Brownie. I've been saying it for weeks. I said Europe's not too far away for Leeds United, you know. And
you still believe, Joe, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I do. But I get it. I think we'll just miss out. No, I still do, though, guys. I don't see this 10th, 11th. But I genuinely think we'll be knocking on the door. I don't think we'll get in there. I do think we'll just miss out. But we will be knocking on the door because look. Like's just been said, you know, Leicester and Everton, you can't really tell the difference for me. I did think we would beat Everton, and I did think I'm hopeful, and had we won last night, I'd be more confident, but I thought we'd beat Palace as well. So I'm looking at that thinking, oh man, we're going to be 6-7 here, man. We're moving, but obviously we got beat last night. So, you know, I do get carried away, but, you know, I still think we'll be up there, you know, I do. And I'm excited. And look where we are. Next season, that's what I'm saying, man. Next season, add them little bits of, you know, special talent, you know, like on the level of Rafinha, Rodrigo. Say what you want about Rodrigo, but when he plays and he's on it, technically, he's amazing for me.
Do you know what, Joe? You know what I'm looking forward to? The fact that we've got so many points on the board already is by the time March, April comes round, we're going to be extremely safe, mathematically and everything else. And we potentially could have a big say on where that Premier League title goes.
And
it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And who finishes in the top four and all the rest of it. And I've got a real joy about Leeds just shithousing people for the last month.
That month of April, I remember when the fixtures come out and I was going, oh man, what a month that is.
Touching on that, Chris, as well, though. It'd be lovely. Like, we're saying we're extremely safe. Have we ever had a situation this year where we could have fielded our strongest 11? At no point, I don't think we've ever had a full 11 out. That'd be great.
Even from the first game.
11, see how that comes.
Yeah, we've had like 9. I think we had John from All Stats St. We've had like 9 different centre-back partnerships this season.
I think it's 12.
Is it 12?
I think it's 12
the
different
most
partnerships.
we've got been able to put together is four games in a row. We've been able to put Koch and Cooper together, and then Koch got injured. 4 games. That's the most we've got out of the centre-back partnership together. 4 games consecutively.
And even the games where Koch was playing, he was carrying an injury from the Liverpool game. So it's not like he's been 100%. Because there was moments where Koch looked superb, and then there was games where even I was sort of thinking, I don't know, like, is he the right man for the job sort of thing? And then it comes to light that he's actually been carrying quite a bad injury since the first game. So we've not even seen the best of people like Koch.
Yeah. No, you bang on. And I think that's what, I can't remember where I heard it, but I genuinely think the Llorente signing was a fail-safe because they knew that Koch was going to have to go for this operation at some point. Let's talk about some individuals. I've been dying to get into it all day. I still am genuinely shocked that I tweeted out this morning, and it's not so much my tweet, but I'm genuinely shocked at actually the amount of negative responses to my own tweet, where I've said that I think people have flip-flopped on Klich. I can't quite believe it. I did say it was this new generation of fan. The only reason I said that, and listen, I'm not saying that people aren't allowed to criticise. I think people have got it twisted when they've read it, because that's not what I'm saying. No one's exempt from criticism. Bielsa can be criticised. He should have been criticised against Crawley. But what I'm saying is it's how quick people have flipped on Klich and said, we had someone on our player ratings last night, Oscar, saying, Klich needs to go. And I brought it up. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, where does that even come from? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But for me, this guy has been an absolute terminator in terms of the amount of games he's played, the amount of times he's spent on the pitch. He only was dropped, really, that's the first time. I know he was dropped for Derby, but the reasoning behind that was because he was either too hungover or he was still pissed, if we're being honest.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah.
Saw the Instagram posts.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's crazy. And I've got this little twinkle in my eye that he scores against Palace, and I just can't wait to get back on Twitter like that. That Jose Mourinho, I prefer not to speak, you know? That one. But talk to me about Klich, please, someone with some sanity, or does anyone disagree and thinks he should be bombed out?
I think before we went live, Brownie said something which sort of stuck me in that even if he is having a bit of a dip in form, the man has bought himself enough credit to have a dip in form for a few games. Like you say, he's been an absolute machine. Let's not forget, he was nearly gone under the previous regime. He was out. Yeah. And for the last two seasons, he's been an absolute behemoth.
There's a handful of players in that Leeds squad, like you say, who have earned themselves a little bit of credit built up in the bank, and he's definitely one of them. I mean, I'm flabbergasted at some of the stuff I read last night. I took my phone. I couldn't bother carry on scrolling some of the stuff. Like you said earlier on, it was all over this. I think I watched a different game. Like sometimes Klich wasn't great last night, and he hasn't been for a few weeks. But I was hearing you keep saying he's not good enough. Well, hang on a minute. Where do you want to finish in the league? Like we're 11th. We've just been promoted. That's more than good enough. So this phrase, he's not good enough, and it's not just Klich that gets it. There's a few that get it. Alioski, Cooper, they're not good enough. Well, they're mid-table in the Premier League.
They're doing all right.
Where do you expect to be? Where do you want to be? I wish I wasn't that good enough. I wish I was mid-table in the Premier League. I'll tell you that. I don't understand where. It's like if you'd have given me 17th at the beginning of the season, I would have ripped your arm off. It's another year in the Premier League. That was our aim. But now, because we're 11th, it's just Leeds, isn't it? Now, because we're 11th, we want to be 8th, 7th. We want to be that little bit more. And that's just, I mean, it's a good mentality to have. We always want to improve, don't we? But I just think, like you said, I think he's built up enough credit to be able to have a few shitters.
And this is the thing, Bradley, we're 11th in the league after, have we played 21 now? Is it 21 or 20?
Yeah, 21.
21, and he started in all but 2. He started in all but 2 games, and we're 11th in the league. He plays in a key position. This is the thing. I get you. You bang on, you know. How can someone not be good enough, but start in 19 of 21 games? It was only in November. I mean, Oscar, you tweeted it out earlier on that Bielsa said he would play in any team across Europe.
He's at Leeds by chance as well, he said. It's I mean, you look at it, I think it's spot on, to be fair, Joe, mate, when you say that it's this new era of fan. I think it is. I think it's almost like the FIFA era of fan, this idea that everyone's going to be a 7 or 8 out of 10 every single game. No, that's not the way it works. You know, there's not this, this thing about not being good enough. Okay, if Klich goes another 6 months and plays like he did last night or last couple of games, fair enough. But this idea that players are robots and they're not going to have bad games, it happens. Players have bad games. Yeah. It's part and parcel.
This is something that just clicked in my head, and I've never thought about it till now. And Klich's probably gone off the boil more since there was no fan on the ground. Klich's a bit of an entertainer. He's a bit of a clown,
a showman, isn't he?
And it's just something I've thought of now. Is he missing the fans in there?
Big time.
30,000 chanting Klich's scoring goals. don't know. It always seems to up it. I don't know.
You know, I think
Klich and Alioski are the two that probably enjoy having the crowd there more than any.
Yeah.
And it's probably quite ironic that since the crowds have gone, they're the ones that are getting the most stick. And I don't even think a lot of it is warranted, because like a lot of fans seem to forget how well Klich started the season. Like he scored on the opening day against Liverpool. He was running games for the first 5, 6, 7 games, and people were going, bloody hell, he's the most suited to the Premier League player that we have. And then all of a sudden, a couple of bad performances here and there, get rid of him. And I don't know. Look, I've called him to be dragged a couple of times, like where you can tell he's not at it. Fair play, drag him off, bring someone else on. But to get rid and replace the man, I bet what will happen is at the end of the season, we're going to strengthen in certain areas, and we probably will bring in a midfielder, the Rodrigo de Paul that everyone keeps mentioning, or whoever. And it wouldn't surprise me if when we do that, that person is kept out of the side by Klich.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely.
He's not got anybody pushing him to play. He kind of got into this easy street of, I'm going to play. I know I'm going to play. There was no. I think, Chris, before we came live, you said something that was absolutely bang on. People need someone to moan at, and they can't moan at Bamford at the minute. So who can we moan at now? I mean, I stuck with Bamford last year. I got pelted right in centre for sticking with Bamford. I'm having a go at Bamford more now than I was last year, and he's probably scoring more goals. Like the Newcastle game, I thought it was, what's the right word? Not a joke, but he just wasn't holding it up. He wasn't, even in the Leicester first 45 minutes, now he picked Dallas up, but he was still bouncing off him. He still wasn't holding the ball, and then he goes and puts it in the top corner. So, like you say, Chris, you can't really have a go at Bamford. So, who else can we have a go at?
Got to admire Bamford's attitude as well, to have taken all the stick that he has, both, well, mainly online, isn't it? Like even in the grounds pre-COVID, fans weren't really getting on his back, because you could see the work he's doing off the ball, and it's not all about scoring goals. And it was clear that stick got to him when he cupped his ear, like after he scored that goal after a bit of a barren spell, that the online fans were getting to him. But to have come through that, and look, the man's more than likely going to get an England call up at some point. It's crazy, but he is. And if you'd have told the Leeds fans that a year ago, they'd have laughed you out of the place.
You know what else as well? It seems like there's only certain players that some fans will have a go at. Now, Luke Ayling is a fabulous right back. It's a pity there's so many good right backs around England at the minute, because Ayling normally would probably be knocking on the door. But he's been culpable for a few goals this season with a bit of shoddy marking or whatever, and they all do it. But no
against Leicester.
Finger at Luke Ayling.
I think I'm going to ring you for a hug. I think my thoughts are in your head, Chris. This is the honestly, people hammer Alioski. I love Ayling to pieces. Ayling's been at fault for more goals than Alioski on the left-hand side. And I see this. Ayling drives forward more and he links up. He's got Rafinha in front of him. I drive forward more if I had Rafinha in front of me. I mean, give it to him. Let him run with ball. I mean, Alioski does have to step back a lot. But if you've got Rafinha in front of me, you may as well look like Cafu, because he's unbelievable, that guy.
How many would you get a season, Brownie, with Rafinha in the team?
None. I just give him the ball, let him have it. Let him but honestly, how we got him for 17 million is
an absolute steal, isn't it?
I think, just imagine 3 or 4 of his quality just dotted about the team.
That's what's going to happen, though. I think gradually we're going to, because we've only improved in certain areas and the odd player here and there. Look, Koch and Llorente could be Rafinha level players once they're fit and healthy and at it. So the stick we're getting for our defending is beyond me with the amount of changes we've had to do there. But then you add in your Rafinha and then Rodrigo, who is top level. And then at the end of the season, when we add a couple more and they gradually integrate them into the team, all of a sudden you are on the brink of Europe. Like like you said, Joe, we're not far off of your Leicesters and your Evertons, and you look at their squads and the money that they've outlaid. It's frightening. And to think that we're bringing in players like Rafinha for 17 million, and they're looking at this kid from Brest in France, the left back, who I'd never heard of, and apparently, like the stats, he's top in France for assists and key passes, and he's playing for a rubbish team. And we seem to be unearthing these players, and you've got to take your hat off to Victor Orta, because he's got fingers in pies in some of these countries where he's unearthing some gems.
Ian Wright said a few weeks ago, he said for 17, 18 million, he said there's been wingers out in the Premier League bought for 3-4 times that who aren't doing half the bits that Rafinha.
Pepe.
That's probably where he was pointing his finger, to be honest.
He was, yeah.
But this is the difference, and this is why I brought up Chronic J's point. You know, he says next season we're going down, teams will figure us out. That's the difference. The reason you're comparing to Sheffield United, the reason that Sheffield United are where they are, they've had a couple of key injuries in key positions for them. You know, Jack O'Connell at the back's a massive loss. And their recruitment's been shite. That's why Sheffield United are where they're at.
I've had a debate about Sheffield United, because I keep hearing, Wilder always loved this, we've come from League One. Yeah, that's good. The money they've spent, people keep saying they haven't spent. They've spent a fortune just on absolute dross. They bought two guys from Dad, two defenders that came on that loan the other night, and not buying them cheap. Brewster, 20-odd million. We got Rafinha.
They spent more on Brewster than we have Rafinha.
And they bought what's his face as well, McBurney from Swansea, didn't they?
That move was about 20 as well, wasn't he, from Bournemouth?
Yeah.
That's just strikers as well.
The strike force the other night, I know the one, but we were playing West Brom. The strike force was David McGoldrick and Billy Sharp. You're going to be in trouble in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
This is the thing, Brownie. They have spent Mousse, what's his face from Swansea, who I've just mentioned, McBurney and Brewster. There's about £80 million worth of player there, or 65, 70, I don't know. So that's where they're at, Chronic.
How much did they spend on Berger as well in midfield?
20 million, 30 million. He was
I rate him though, to be fair. I think he looks a good player.
The keeper.
Yeah. You know what it is as well?
He was
I'm probably going to upset a few Sheffield United fans now, but hey, never mind.
Oh well.
That's Sheffield United. We're talking about Leeds United here with Pablo Bielsa at the helm. If you're a player, that's two very different propositions that you're looking at if a club come in knocking. So Sheffield United might have been in the market for let's say bigger players than the ones that they got for expensive money, where it feels like they almost panic buyed.
I think that comment about we'll go down because we'll get found out. If we go down, it's not because we've been found out. We've played the same way for 3 years. Teams know how we play. It's no surprise. I mean,
Bielsa done a whole presentation on how we do it. It's pretty obvious.
It's true. Kieran, let's talk. Let's get Kieran in. I want to talk about some more individuals, because I was like Brownie. I for the first time ever actually went on the official Leeds Twitter. I seen someone had tweeted it out and said the replies to this are crazy, and I went on and it was a Cooper interview, and he was getting absolutely hammered. Now, whether or not you agree Cooper's at a level to be captain in a Premier League side, that's up for debate. I understand that, right? But I do think a lot of people have an agenda against Cooper. Even when he has a good game, if we concede, it's his fault. And it's like, I don't know what you're watching. He has a good game. For me, yesterday, I thought he did well. He made some key tackles, one against Dominic Calvert-Lewin, where it was like taking candy from a baby in the box. Normally, you're looking at Cooper and thinking, oh, you're going to bring him down. Don't bring him down. Yeah. He dealt with it. There was one against Sigurdsson on the left that he dealt with as well. He
also had Callum Wilson in his pocket twice as well. I mean, I'm not Cooper. Yeah. I'm not his biggest fan. I'll give people criticism and I don't matter who they are. I'm not Cooper's big fan. The last few games, he's been good. I think Calvert-Lewin got away from him once yesterday in the first half, where he got a shot from about 25 yards. Other than that, he's got nothing for Calvert-Lewin. I know he scored, but again, that was him defending from a corner, nothing to do with Cooper. But
and we've got to take into account that Cooper's got a kid alongside him. He's got a guy there that he's trying to sort of show the ropes in probably the hardest position that you could be thrown to the Lions in your first season in the Premier League. Strikes barely kicked the ball in the Championship. He's come straight through the under-23s, and all of a sudden, you've got all eyes on you. And Cooper's got that to figure out as well. Being the captain, he's got to drag him through it.
We call him Virgil van Strauch on here. That's what we've nicknamed now. Virgil van Strauch.
You call him Virgil van Strauch.
Yeah, it's me. Just me.
I like that. I'm nicking that, Joe.
If Pascal keeps progressing at the rate he is, which is it's just insane, his progression at the minute. Yeah. Next season for me, and this isn't me saying I want Coops out, because I think Coops will be at least around the club 2-3 more seasons. Yeah. But for next season for me, Pascal and Koch potentially are our starting centre-backs with a left foot and a right foot. I think he's that good.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Virgil van Strauch. But Kieran, what are your thoughts on Cooper, mate?
Mate, I think he's mint. Like, I've seen people like yesterday blaming him for the goals, like for both goals for some reason. The first goal, that was, if anything, that may have been Strauch because he hadn't put his foot in. But even then, he's on the wrong side. He's on his right side. He's not used to playing on that side of the box. And the second goal, that's Ayling's because he lost Calvert-Lewin. So
yeah, I've seen a lot of people. You're right, mate. He should do better at the set piece. It's hit off his fucking shoulder after Godfrey's been in front of him. I don't know what people want him to do in that scenario. We were saying yesterday, like, just go, oh, it's fine, there you go, like, control it or something on his shoulder.
I think it's FIFA. I think you can just do that, like in real life, things like that. Honestly.
Yeah, mad. I love him, mate.
And the thing is, the first goal, like you hinted on there, Kieran, the first goal, Phillips has let Sigurdsson go. Phillips sort of looked to Cooper as if to sort of say, you're like free, you take him. But that's not how our system works. He's your man. You've got to follow him.
Yeah.
So that's why it's almost looked as if Cooper, like some people have looked at it and gone, oh, Cooper's not picked Sigurdsson up, but Phillips let him run through.
Yeah, exactly. You're right there.
That's the whole agenda thing, though. I think people won't blame Phillips for things. So who's closest? Right, Cooper's closest. Like, Cooper's in a 50-yard vicinity. Let's blame Cooper. And I just think, I love Phillips. Phillips is like, he's the centre point of the team. But when the ball starts to get crossed in, he's goal side. He's goal side of Sigurdsson when that ball's about to get crossed in. By the time the ball's in the box, Phillips is still stood on the edge of the box. And Sigurdsson ran 12 yards and tapped it in. And it's not the first time a player's ran off him this season, by the way. McTominay did it twice in 3 minutes of it.
Don't bring that up.
He does tend to get runners run off the back of him. And I know he hasn't got. It is a man-for-man system, but if we're defending a corner and someone ran from the edge of the box, you wouldn't pass your man on and tell someone else to get him. You'd follow your man. So I don't understand why in that situation people are saying Cooper has to track Sigurdsson. Well, Phillips is stood next to him. But yeah,
Dylan's right on the comments as well. Rafinha should have done more to stop the cross.
Yeah, we said that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, it shouldn't come in at all, should it?
It was similar
at all.
Don't get me wrong. I'd leave my missus for Rafinha.
Newcastle's goal the Newcastle goal.
Is she out, is she, Chris? Can't hear
you. She's upstairs.
Probably watching this though, Chris. What she's watching this though?
Well, we've got a spare room. Be right, wouldn't it?
The Newcastle goal, the Hendricks goal, where Ayling lost the header and Hendricks put it in the back post. Again, that was the cross. Stop the cross. I think the crosses do come in very easily, but then you look at in the middle of the box. I think that was one of the goals when I had a bit of a debate. Someone was slagging Alioski off that he's not good enough, and I just asked the question: well, what goals have been his fault this season? Alioski's. that was one of the goals they pointed at. The Hendricks goal, he lost his man at the back post. But before that, Ayling lost his header for the flick on, and the cross didn't get stopped going put in. But we blame Alioski because he's a scapegoat.
Yeah,
just like
it's crazy, really, isn't it? Like, to think the position we're in with some of these players. Like going back to when Bielsa first came in, I remember seeing that first team sheet at Stoke and sort of thinking, "Oh God, it's the same set."
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
What's going to change here? And I mean, like that Stoke performance, obviously we won 3-1 and we was immense. And if you'd have told me that 2 seasons later or 2.5 seasons later, we'd be mid-table in the Premier League with pretty much the same set of players, it's crazy to think that any of us get on their backs for anything. They should all have a free pass, really.
It shows we're so far ahead of the plan that we're into plan number 2 now, aren't we? Because what was it, a 5-year plan from Rads to get promoted?
Yeah.
And now we're in plan 2 because we were way ahead of the curve. And it's Bielsa, legend, love him.
Touching on that, about the team, I was saying, my brother goes home and away, and after the Leicester game, he was just in disbelief. And I was, what's up here? And he was like, I just can't get my head round. Them players played under Paul Heckingbottom, and they were garbage. It was awful. And it's the same set of players. Like touching on Klich, he was in a different country on loan. That's how disjointed he was to the club. And then he's gone and played 113 games out of 115, and he's turned him in from a player who was out on loan to a Poland international who's going to the Euros. It's just absolutely mental what he's done.
But he's not good enough, though. He's not good enough, man.
He's crossing balls for
Lewandowski. Going to the Euros, for example.
Yeah.
If he's crossing balls for Lewandowski, he can slide through balls for Bamford without question.
Yeah. Oscar, talk to me about Klich, mate. I haven't heard much from you, man. I know you're a massive fan of him as well.
Yeah, of course. I think this is what I mean, though. The idea Klich's going to be brilliant every single game. No player's going to be brilliant every single game. Rafinha was quiet at Tottenham. Rafinha's had a couple of quiet games. I love Rafinha, but not every player is going to be on it every single game. Harrison, for me, probably had one of his poorest games of the season last night. He's not going to be on it every single game. And what I've got to agree with Brownie, in terms of, I'm guilty of criticising Alioski at left back. But I don't think there's this massive difference in terms of quality from one player to the other. Say Cooper, like the way some people make it out is that Calvin Phillips is basically Busquets and Cooper's a League One player. That's the way people make it out. There's not that big a difference between all the players. I'm not saying, Calvin's a far better player than Lee Cooper, but there's not that big a difference. Coops has earned the right to be in this team in the Premier League, and he's took his chance, to be fair, last couple of games. Every single player in that team has earned their right to play.
You're right, Oscar. Do you think, because you like to look at the tactical side, do you think of how we play that Klich gets exposed a lot? Because there's a lot of games I look at, and he's stood in the middle of the pitch completely on his own, with nobody near, like from our team near him. We've got the wingers out there, Bamford's high, Phillips has dropped in, and Klich is on his own, completely on his own a lot. And I just wonder, obviously we've stepped up a league, he's on his own with better players from the opposition. Like, is that a factor? I don't know. I'm just trying to look at things from every angle. I just think like he seems to be on his own a lot in the centre.
The thing as well with the way that Bielsa sets us up is you've got to win your individual battles, and what people need to figure out is these individual battles now are against a much higher level player than these players are used to playing against. And like people have said, we need to not be Sheffield United, what they've done next season. We won't, because our players would have then got used to that level of opposition. And I think your likes of your Aylings and Klichs and people like that, Alioskis, may even be better next season. We've got to ride this storm, and sort of once we add a few more better quality players around them, the individual battles are going to be easier for them to win as well, I think.
That's the thing, though, too.
I think the squad depth for me. The squad depth. I think
we're not even in a storm, though, are we? We're not even in a storm. We're 11th in the Premier League.
You're right, yeah. But the way it's made out is as if we are.
This is what I'm saying. I genuinely, yesterday, cannot believe the outpouring that has come for individuals in that team after we've lost a game to an Everton side that they won't get top 4, but they're in the running. They will get Europe. They've got internationals throughout. They've got Carlo Ancelotti as their manager. And listen, I know we lost 2-1, but we should have won the game for me. It's not even to say we deserved a point. We were the better side. I've seen some people take on social media saying, yeah, we're just not good enough. We weren't great. You're watching a different game to me. You know, yeah, first half wasn't great, but I thought we bossed them second half. I don't understand it. Like, I want Mateusz Klich. I know I keep bringing it back to that, but I feel passionate about the guy. I want him to score against Crystal Palace so bad, man. So bad. And have a worldie. Because I do think there's something in what Brownie says. I think he's exposed a lot more when he plays with Rodrigo as well.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
You know, because Rodrigo's not doing nowhere near the amount of work that we've seen in previous seasons. And let's be honest, Pablo was levels above players in the Championship. You know, so we weren't exposed as much. We're now exposed, and I do think that it's difficult for him alongside Rodrigo. So we'll have to wait and see. But for me, he's still the man. He's still the man.
I think it'll almost help Klich playing alongside Dallas rather than Rodrigo, because Dallas will run all day long, and he will help him out. He'll do that job that Klich does as well. And I think that we might even see, whilst Rodrigo's out, I don't know how long he's out for yet, but whilst he's out, we may even see an upturn in Klich's form. And like you said, Joe, if he does bag one against Palace, it'll only do him the world of good. I think he needs that. It's been a while now since he put a ball in the back of the net, especially that's not a penalty. Like I want to see a Klich screamer. You know, I want to see him 20 yards, 30 yards. You know.
I'm glad we mentioned Stuart Dallas, because I remember him. What was it? 6 seasons ago now he came into the club, and I was like, you can't beat a man.
What is he?
Is he probably behind Klich and maybe Bamford in Bielsa's eyes? Is he our most valuable player? Yeah. He's just
I stumbled across a video of Dallas in November time. He clocked up, you'll probably know how many games, he clocked up a certain amount, a milestone of games. And the Leeds Twitter account did like a montage of his clips throughout the years. By God, he scored some big goals that you don't even think about.
Some screamers as well.
Oh, that one against Birmingham away when he just lobs the keeper on the volley. Oh, that's unreal. That goal.
Some of the goals that are popping up, and you think he scored some, like Preston last season, last minute. He scored to equalise to get as a point against them.
Did we get the winner in that 5-4 at Birmingham?
That was an OG, wasn't it?
He scored in that game.
He scored the 4th, I think. Yeah,
he scored the 4th.
Poked it through to him and he stabbed it home.
Yeah.
I always just remember Aileen's goal because he did that. It's the beauty.
The thing is with Dallas as well, like you hinted on there, Brownie, I think in a few years' time when he's no longer with the club and he's moved on or whatever, retired, I think we'll look back at Stuart Dallas and he's going to be a fully fledged Leeds United legend. Yeah. And I think we'll miss him and we'll look back at him and go, bloody hell, what a player he was. Yeah. And what he's contributed to this club as a whole is nothing short of a miracle, really.
This is why it frustrates me, Terry, because I know you have to take sentiment out of it when you want to grow as a football club. And I understand that the likes of Cooper, even Alioski, Dallas, Ayling, well, maybe not so Ayling. I think Dallas will stay as a squad rotational player just for me, even maybe Klich. I get it, right? We have to progress and people will have to come out of the side and take, maybe bench or maybe be sold. But what I don't like is the stick that they're getting, because in 10, 15 years' time, we will look back on these individuals that got us up after 16 years with such fond memories. And people have got such short memories when they're digging them out. Doing it, man.
Yeah, and you say that, Joe, on the 16 years. We've been in the Premier League, 4 months? Where do they want us to? Where do people want us to be? It's taken us 16 years. 16 years. When was I? My brother was I was in secondary school. I was in primary school. 16 years, a long time. Since then, I've had a kid. But now, we can all go through things that we've done since then. And within 4 months, people aren't happy that we're 11th.
Yeah.
It's like mental, isn't it?
Like you said, I think it's the world we're living in. People have got to be unhappy with. There's got to be someone's got to be unhappy with something in this day and age. I think there's always got to be something to complain about.
People want to be outraged, mate. They want to find something to be outraged at. You bang on.
It's like we beat Leicester 3-1 away, so you'd think like, do you know what? The squad have bought themselves some real credit there. None of them. I spoke to you, Joe. None of us were like, we'll be lucky. We'll do well to get a point at Leicester. We go. Let's be honest. We pump them 3-1, and then all right. We have a mega second half against Everton, but we lose 2-1. A couple of sloppy-ish goals, and everyone's outraged like we're bottom of the league. Like Sheffield United, cut adrift, definitely going down. We're all crap.
Could you imagine what the world would be like if we were in Form 3? Could you imagine the outrage?
Jesus Christ.
Can you? They would genuinely be Bielsa outs. I'm telling you, they would.
It's just football fans in general, though. Now, I mean, I even look at like say Liverpool played the other week. Milner was in the starting 11. One of my best mates, a Liverpool fan, and he's messaging me saying, "Oh, Milner's playing. Can you just take him off us?" kind of thing. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. James Milner, who was absolutely superb that night, by the way, has won them a Champions League title. He's won them a Premier League, but there's always got to be that one player, no matter who you support, that you just dislike. You can never, out of the 11 players, there's always got to be one who just gets a bit of stick. And I think even you go back to like years and years and years. I mean, I just think football fans in general so much more expectation now. But I think Rafinha is probably the big one now. I think Rafinha's come in. He's had some absolutely unreal games. I think he's set that standard now for pretty much everyone else. I think Klich now, you look at him at the start of the season, and then it was absolutely fantastic. But then Rafinha comes in, and he's almost set that new standard now that everyone's got to reach that. Otherwise, I mean, Robin Koch, for me, has been an outstanding signing. I know he's injured, but the game he was playing, Calvert-Lewin he pocketed, Aguero he pocketed, other games in that lot, Aubameyang he pocketed.
When's he due back, Oscar? Do you know?
March, innit?
March, I think,
yeah.
Oscar, it's funny you mentioned like Rafinha setting the bar, because at the beginning of the season, Costa was having a good start to the season. Rafinha replaces him, and it looks like Costa's just gone, I'm done.
Let's talk about him, because for me, let's talk about him, right? Because we're saying, right, no one's exempt from criticism. Let me caveat that. And there's a difference. This is where the difference lies between criticism and saying, you fucking shit, I don't want to see you again, da-da-da-da-da. But then again, look, am I being fickle myself? Football fans are fickle, because after Derby, I was saying to Patrick, I never want you in my fucking club again. And now look what he's doing. So I'm not, I will throw shade on myself, it is what it is. But if they pull on that white shirt, I will support them, and that's the difference. And that's what I always have said. But on Costa, is he someone who we don't think he's quite good enough? Or what's going on with Costa? Who wants to talk to me about Costa?
I think for Costa, I think the thing is, he went up with Wolves and then they sold him. And now it's potentially looking like he's not going to cut it for us in the Premier League. Now, he started the season well. Was it just, we're up? Because let's be honest, we set out the traps flying. And maybe he was just carried away with that. I'm still on the fence with Costa. I want them all to do well. We all do, of course. I just think he might be one at the end of the season who Bielsa says, if we're going to bring in more players, he's one we can probably cut loose.
I think he's one of these, Helder Costa. I think that's once he's in the Premier League, he's content with being there rather than go to that next level. And it's not like Wolves didn't give him the opportunities. He played ample amount of games in that last season he had with Wolves. And he had some good moments. He scored a good goal away at Tottenham. I remember when they beat Tottenham away. And he had moments, but then it's almost as if he's happy with that. He's like, I've scored a good goal there. That'll do me. And then he sort of throws the towel in a bit. And once the other players come in, like that's happened this year with Rafinha, it's almost as if he's just gone, I can't compete with him. And he doesn't want to put the effort in to compete with him. Plus, I think we'd get decent enough money for him to a lower half Premier League team or a mid to upper half Championship team. I think we'd get 10 million.
I think the Paveda thing would have wound him up a bit as well, because for me, Costa's better than Paveda. And he's seen Paveda coming on, not just for 10 minutes in games. He's been coming on with 35, 40 minutes left in games. And for me, you think, what's this? What's going on here? Because I know Paveda gets a lot of praises, but for me, what's he done?
Flatters to deceive a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah.
I said exactly the same. He comes on and
get Pavetta on. He runs around. Us six, we could run around. There's a winger that has he scored a goal?
I probably couldn't run around.
Might have got one or two. There's a winger. But for me, Costa's above Pavetta, but Pavetta keeps getting played. So for me, it might be a psychological thing for Costa as well. I just think, what on earth is going on here? Like you say, he's gone up with Wolves. He's now at Leeds. He's gone up with Leeds, and he's got Pavetta in front of him, and I can't work that one out.
This is the thing for me with Pavetta, where people are blinded with Pavetta, and I've said it many times, is because against Crawley, he did through someone's leg, and everyone goes, "Whoa, man, that is amazing! Wow,
he played
brilliant."
shit in that game.
But what came of
when
it?
there's no end product, and it's like, I can't do that, but you can do that and not get anywhere. You know what I mean? What were you going to say, Oscar?
Nothing came of it, though. You know, when he did that, if he got to put a cross in the box and made a goal out of it, you think, wow, I'll tell you what, that's something else. But I think with Costa, the ability's there. I do think the ability's there with Costa. You know, he's showing it in glimpses, but I don't think there's enough belief I don't think he has that belief in himself. I think Rafinha's come through the door. I don't think he believes he can push Rafinha. I don't know. I just see that slight change of body language. I think he leaves United and goes to another club and absolutely kills it, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah, he don't look at it
like Andy Wilson in the comments. I'm an Andy Wilson fan now with what he's just put in there.
Yeah, it's a great shout, isn't it? 10 million, yeah. I see a lot of people worried that's they want more. They want to keep him. That deal's done. It's signed, delivered.
It's set in stone.
Yeah.
Because it was 8 million, wasn't it? We could have got him this year for 8 million, but then we delayed it the year and they get 10. So
how old is Harrison? How old is Harrison?
24?
Yeah, 24, I think.
It's the same with Rafinha. They're both relatively babies in the game. They won't peak for another 2 or 3 years.
The thing that doesn't help Costa is his price tag. With what we paid for him, I don't think that goes in his favour. They've seen us get Rafinha for the similar price, and that's what they expect. We did Rennes. We shafted them completely getting him for 17 million.
And don't they know it?
Robbery.
Yeah, you know you're getting a good player, don't you, when their fans have a complete meltdown that he was being told. I mean, that was the style meltdowns that were coming across Twitter.
What has gone on there, though? Because they're in the Champions League. Why have they had to sell him for that price?
The French league has no money. I think what's happened is
TV deal's gone, isn't it?
With COVID, their TV deal went, and that's why everyone's pilfering the French football. That's why they bought him for the same price that we bought him for.
Yeah,
they didn't even make any up on it. So it's mad because you know that when Leeds there's people worried that it'll go in the summer. I'm not concerned because there's no way that Rafinha came to this club with the belief that we were getting Europe first season. So if that was the case, he wouldn't have bothered coming. So he's here for the project. And I take confidence from the fact that I'm hearing that Rodrigo de Paul has said, I'm going to Leeds because he's bought in the project. And, you know, we've heard Inter Milan, Juve, Liverpool, and he seems like he's set on Leeds. The fact that this Chad Early is tweeting about it, Radrazani's liking tweets. They're going to look like numpties if it's not done. That's the thing for me.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'll tell you what, that will be some signing if we do manage to pull that off.
If we get him.
Because he is phenomenal.
He had a three of Rafinha, De Paul, and Rodrigo.
That will frighten the life out of teams.
I'm not going to lie, boys. On that note, I'm going to have to clean myself up because
I'm just Calvin Phillips though in that brownie and thinking, I'm going to have to do a lot of work here. I'm going to have to do a lot of covering here.
You say that, Oscar, but I don't know if you lot have seen much of Rodrigo de Paul. He's very sort of in the click mould in the way that he'll run around. He's up and down. He's got box to box in him. He's actually played in the holding role for Udinese as well. And he's got a lot more in his locker than that creative midfielder would usually have. He's a little bit got a bit of Rafinha about him in the way that Rafinha will run around like a blue-ass fly. That most flair players won't do that. Rodrigo de Paul actually will do that. He'll put a shift in. So he'll help out more than sort of Rodrigo does, even so.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I agree with White People.
Do you think we'll go and get a striker?
What were you saying, Brownie?
Do you think we'll go and get another number 9? Because I thought we would.
I think you've got to, haven't you?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Or is it a case of, mind you? I think for me, I think this is Pablo's last season. I think he retires, and God bless him. He is a player who will go down as an absolute legend. Absolutely no doubt.
Yeah. Going back
to Castellon.
Yeah, doesn't he own a club or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd come back in some sort of coaching role or something? I don't know.
I'd love him to, mate. I'd love him to be the next disciple. I'd love that.
Yeah. Because that would be incredible. Could you imagine if he did say he goes to Castellon for a season or something just to finish his career and then comes back and sort of learns? Because I still think Bielsa's going to be with us for a few more seasons. And then if he comes back and learns the ropes off of Bielsa, and
mate, my dream pairing of disciples now is Pablo and Berra.
Oh fucking hell!
Do you not think Bielsa
would be amazing?
I think Bielsa's got more animated in the last month, 2 months with his seller. Like last season, he just seemed really calm, but now it's like every goal he's giving it the fist pump. And
he went like this. He went like this the other day. He went like that.
Yeah, he done that, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I think he's really bought into the club.
Next season, wear crap.
This guy needs to put the bottle down. He's had too much.
Yeah.
This guy's not a Leeds fan. You can see he's got a little Barcelona shirt in his thing.
Yeah. Messi on his.
He accused me of being a Barca fan here. I'm not, what I'm going to say is, slightly off topic. I'm under fire. I'm going to change the topic. Pablo Hernandez, there's no coincidence for me that Rodrigo de Paul has said, there's been a bit of noise from his camp that he's going to come to Leeds United, and Pablo Hernandez's last season. I think Rodrigo de Paul is coming in as Pablo's replacement. I genuinely do think that. And whether he's going to start, he's going to work harder than Pablo. He's going to have more of an engine. I think he is. I think he's got a bigger potential than Pablo, but and I think he's one of those personalities who I think he'd enjoy that, the thought of having to step in for a club legend. If we get that over the line, I mean, my words.
The female fans will like it as well, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, he's a good-looking man. He's a good-looking man.
He is a yeah.
That'll be a
Joe Wayman in his prime.
Yeah, he is Joe Wayman in his prime, mate.
Pablo needs a send-off, though. Pablo needs a pull. He needs. He's done that much for us. He can't just. That's it. Off you go. Yeah, that's.
You know what, mate? I've got one particular memory. I can't actually remember who it was against. It might have been Rotherham, but I was at the front of the South Stand where I always was. Rainy Tuesday night, I think, under the lights, and Pablo makes 2 of their players sit them both on the floor, twisting and turning, and I'm just like, I fucking love you, man. we were shit then, but Pablo was just next level.
Like the back end of last season, he'd come on at half time. In some games, he'd go back off again. He'd come on, do his little thing, and then he'd go back off again. Game done. I'm just thinking, oh my!
It's such a shame that he's of the age and the stage of his career that he's at. Because could you imagine if we'd gone up sort of with this team and Pablo was 31?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or even 32, because he still had a lot left. But
Kieran, would Pablo Hernandez be your idol? Not as idol as in you've got pictures on the wall or all that. I love that. It's true though, isn't it? Because he is that guy for the younger generation, man.
He's mint. Yeah, he's always been mint for every time he's come on. He's been beautiful to watch. Like this season, he's dipped a bit because of his age. He just doesn't have the legs anymore. He's almost 40 now. He's 37, 38. He's my dad's age. So, yeah, he's my dad's age.
I'm 33 on Friday.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's me. He's my dad's age. He's not. And my dad's not going around sprinting up and down the pitch for 90 minutes.
Yeah, nutmegging everyone inside.
Yeah,
nutmegging mermaids.
My dad gets tired running upstairs. Like,
what you just said, Kieran, that's similar to Costa coming on because he's coming on and not really doing anything. Is it because it's just the Premier League and it's a lot harder to come on in the Premier League with 10, 15 minutes to go than it is to come on against Luton? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, you are right there, Brownie.
Pablo has come on in the last few games and it's been like, but then we'll say it's because he's getting old. But it's the same when anybody else has come on. We've not really brought anybody on, and they've blown teams away from the big bench.
If yesterday, if that pass that Pablo put into Bamford, if that sticks and Bamford puts that in the back of the net, we're raving about Pablo.
Yeah.
And we're saying, wow, he's unlocked it again. He's come on and he's found the key pass that no one else could. So,
what are his thoughts on Tyler, guys? Because I've been really impressed with him over the last couple of games. I do think last night he should take a touch and should make it to all, if I'm being totally honest. I was fuming with him at the end of the game. Big opportunity. But what are your thoughts on Tyler? Because there was noise of him going out to Huddersfield, but he's with us still.
We've discussed this before, haven't we, John? I think it was the player ratings that I came on, and it was the whole game last season in the cup or earlier this season. He was awful. He just thought he was, I don't know, Ronaldo doing 300 step overs and then falling over his own bootlaces. But the last few games, he's come on and he looks like the Tyler that I expect now. He's driving for the ball, and I think in the window, Bielsa or someone has said, look, we're potentially going to ship you out on loan or sell you. And he's gone, no, I want to stay. I want to fight. And he looks like he's fighting again. And any player who wants to do that, fair play to you.
I think with Tyler, I think he's got bags of ability. And even from when we first brought him in, he's always looked like one for the future that we will mould him. And in 3-4 seasons, he's going to be sort of something a bit special. And I think we was half expecting that he'd step up to the Premier League a bit better than he did. But I think people seem to forget the lack of football that the man's had. It's not like he's even had a full season under his belt in the Championship. He'd be in and out of the team. He'd have an injury. He'd come back and then he'd get a few minutes here and there. And if you go back 5-6 months, we was all calling for him to start ahead of Bamford. When he came on and he scored them 2 goals against Hull, he looked phenomenal. And
I'm going to say I wasn't asking for him to start ahead of Bamford because I'm going to jump in and he has done better in the last couple of games. I don't want to slag someone.
Oh, you're not having him, Brownie, here.
Come on, Brownie.
He's had one good game against West Brom. Give me another time. He's had a game where he's gone. He's like the whole game where I think any of us could have scored against Hull because that's the worst Championship team I've ever seen. Other than the whole game, and the West Brom game where we played them at home, I think it might be the game we won 4-0 the season before last, where he was unplayable. Other than that, please feel free to give me a game where he's been. He got
a couple against Millwall when Roof and Bamford were out. I think in the first season he got 2 goals one night. I think, or was it? Might be Preston.
Yeah, Preston, you're right. Yeah. So in 3 years we've got 3 games on the list.
But how many 90-minute performances has he had in that time?
In lockdown, when we went into lockdown, he was starting a lot of games, and he was the one that kept getting dragged off for Hernandez, and then that's when the game changed.
But do you think
I will give him his due. When he's come on in the last few games, it has looked like he's been a little bit more revitalised. Like maybe he's had a bit of a kick up the arse type of chat type of thing. He has looked. He's done a lot more since he's come on in the last couple of games.
He sprinted more, I've noticed, when he's come on.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he just looked a bit more, not mobile, but a bit more up for it type of thing. I don't know if that's
looks like he's got more energy. I think he went through a period where I think he sort of felt that he had made it again as well. And I think he sort of, you could see it, when the ball would come into his feet, he'd slow everything down. He'd do, like you said, a few step overs, and he'd sort of and he'd try and be a bit too clever sometimes.
He seemed a bit more direct.
In the last few weeks, he's been back to what he is, and he's been running at people, and he's been charging them down. And when he's like that, he's got a lot of potential to be a good footballer.
He has seemed a bit more direct the last couple of times he's come on, and he has wanted to pick up the ball, and he's gone and got it, and he's done things. Yeah. If you'd have asked me this question 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd have driven him to whatever club you wanted.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I still think a loan deal would do him the world of good. I still think.
I forget how young Robert is. What's Robert's 20, 21?
Yeah.
21, yeah.
21. You do forget how young he is because he has been around for 2 or 3 years. And you're right.
Do you think, though, Brownie, we're playing him in his best position? For me, I look at Tyler now, I look at the pace, bit of a different threat to Bamford. I think he's best as a number 9 for me. I agree. I think he looks at his best. Yeah. And we don't often play him there. It's either Rodrigo. Well, even Rodrigo doesn't get many chances out. It's pretty much Bamford, isn't it? Well, last 2 years it's been Bamford. For me, I'd love to see Tyler come on. 20 minutes to go for Bamford and just see how it works. Or try somehow, it will never be what Bielsa does, somehow try and get both playing really close to each other. Not so much 2 strikers, but getting them playing really... I think last night, to be fair, they played pretty close. And
they did, he was quite further forward, wasn't he?
Yeah. You're right, Oscar, because the games that we've mentioned that he's been good in have been the games where he's been as a 9.
Yeah.
The interesting game, the whole game. I can't remember the West Brom game when we won 4-0. I think Bamford played in that one.
But, he played behind him, mate. Yeah.
But the other 2, he's been more advanced. So, when he plays for the 23s, he plays. He does play in the 10 there as well, but he'll have a bit more license to roam a bit more in that.
Mm-hmm. Let's obviously we've done over an hour. Let's just have a little quick chat about obviously some of the games that are coming up. I just want to get your guys' thoughts over what we expect. Obviously, I still think, if you think just a little over a week, we've played Newcastle, Leicester, and Everton and picked up 6 points. This is the thing, when you look at it with perspective, if I'd have said to any one of you guys, you get 6 points from them 3, you're saying, yes, I'll take it right now. That's why it's frustrating when people get so angry and so frustrated. But next 3, we've got Palace, Arsenal and Wolves. Arguably, you could say it might be a tougher test than the last 3 that we've had, in all honesty, away at Arsenal, away at Wolves and Palace. I mean, for me, I look at that Palace one and it's like, I don't know if you guys have the same mentality, but I really want to beat them because it wasn't a 4-1 game, man. It wasn't a 4-1 game.
No, it wasn't. We do owe them one. But when you say the pictures like that, it just echoes how well we're doing. It's not. There's no easy run of games. And you looked in the Championship, you got to win next 5. You know what I mean? You could reel off spells where we could just go on a run and win 5 or 6 on the spin. But you look at the Premier League fixtures. I mean, it's not an easy run, is there? There's just no.
There's no.
But then you look at, April. Oh, I mean, I know we're looking forward to it, but Jesus. Like, on a serious note, it's just not easy, is it? When the big boys league now, like you say, 11th at the minute after 21 games, laughing.
It says it all, though, because the next 3 games, like you said there, Joe, Palace, Arsenal and Wolves, genuinely, I fancy we get 6 points out of them. I think we could actually win all 3. You look at the games that we played them in the return leg, the Arsenal game, we dominated Arsenal. The red card was the best thing that happened to them because it gave them the license to sort of sit behind the ball and not get the fans on their back because they sort of had to. And the Wolves game, that was so harsh that we didn't win that. I thought we was the better team in that.
Yeah. Pascal slipped, didn't he? Pascal slipped.
So, if you was to say to me sort of now, I'd pencil 2 wins out of these because I think we are a better team than Palace as well. They've got players that can bring out a moment of magic here and there, but one of them, by all accounts, isn't going to play against us because apparently Zaha took a knock. I saw it on Twitter earlier. He'll probably miss the game. And without Zaha in their team, they're a completely different team. They have one outlet then, and it's Eze.
We get beat by Arsenal because it's in London. That'll happen.
Oh, God, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do worry Wolves away. I think these 3 are quite tough, actually, if I'm being honest.
I don't rate Wolves.
I don't rate
Wolves at all when I've seen them. They played the Arsenal game on Tuesday. There's no way they get anything from that game if Arsenal don't go down to They went down to 9, didn't they?
And they didn't even give him a good hiding then.
They'll miss Leno and Luis for our game, won't they, to be fair?
They will.
Wolves without Jimenez as well. Half the team.
Yeah,
half the team without Jimenez.
Oscar, without Jimenez, they're a nothing special team for me.
Well, if you look at their team last season, Jota, Jimenez, and Doherty would all be in their top 5 best players, and none of them are there now.
Yeah,
fair point. Good point.
Yeah,
I think I'd be delighted with 6. I'd take 4.
Yeah,
I'll take 4.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. 4.
But know this. If we were to beat Palace then Arsenal, then Wayman's doing that Champions League tune again.
It's your first song on Spotify.
I'm telling you, every time we go, Europe, baby.
I'm going to go quite big for these 3 games. I think we'll get 7 points. I think we'll get a draw down in London.
Yeah, that'd be nice, man. It'd be nice. We should have battered him last time.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating.
I just think Arteta's style, his Arsenal style, doesn't like the Bielsa way of football. I think we're too much for him.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Both games, even in the FA Cup, I thought we absolutely battered at the Emirates in that first half. We should have been 2 or 3 up, you know. And had we put a full team out at the Emirates, we'd have battered them. We had no disrespect to Robbie Gotts. Robbie Gotts made his that night.
We had
Alioski on the left wing, and then everyone was everywhere. We didn't have a full team.
Well, it was Melier's debut, so the defence didn't know him either.
Oh yeah, Melier was like pinging it around like God knows what, wasn't he? Just everyone was like, "Who is this boy?"
I remember being in the crowd, and there was people sort of going, "What? How's he doing this?" The balls he was throwing. We was calling for him to get on the free kicks and everything. He was unreal.
Kieran, what are your thoughts, mate, on the next 3, my man?
Next 3, I reckon we beat Palace, draw with Wolves, lose to Arsenal, because Arsenal have been on an all right run of form recently. So I reckon we lose to them, beat Palace, because we should have at least got a draw last time.
Yeah.
But if Bamford's goal stands, it's a different game. So Bamford's first goal, if that stands, it's a different game. We probably going to win it, I reckon, where we were playing, or at least get a draw. And Wolves, I reckon it's similar to last time, except we take our chances more in the first half. So
I'll tell you what, we take 6 points out of the next 3 games, and for me, mathematically, we're pretty much safe. I mean, not obviously doing
I agree with you.
Chris is still worried about relegation, aren't you, Chris? You're still looking at that table.
We got 35, didn't we, and stayed up last year, so that does put us to 35. So.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need that many this season.
Do you know what's crazy? We have Chris. You just said we're 6 points away from 35 points. We've got 17 games left to get there. It's absolutely bonkers. It's bonkers when you say it out loud. When you say things out loud, we are 6 points away from what kept you up last year, and we've got 17, nearly half a season to get them.
Yeah, it's mental.
You'd have took that at the start, wouldn't you, boys?
Yeah. But Klich's not good enough. So
let's bring it out. Let's talk Klich again. To be fair, man, great. Anyone want to cover off, chat about before we say bye?
Are we excited to see Berra back later this season? Apparently he's training again now, isn't he? God love him.
That'd be nice.
Just a quick one, Joe. Obviously, I've started me and a group of friends have started a
no advertising.
Oh, sorry.
Joking,
oh, fair play. Only Football Fans podcast. So if any of you guys want to give it a listen and that, it would be much appreciated. It's just a group of me and my friends from the pub who always meet up and have a chat, but obviously we can't at the moment. So we're doing a podcast and we put it out there instead. And I'm the sole Leeds United representative because we're all from London and Surrey, so I'm outnumbered by Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, of course. And so if you guys give it a listen and that.
Yeah. What did we think to the pitch, by the way?
Well, it was nice.
Please tell me that it was just because it has just been laid and it's not going to be like an ice rink until the end of the season.
But it was really wet as well, wasn't it? We've had a lot of snow and it was raining that night, so I don't think that helped.
I mean, I was expecting Gemma Collins to come out on ice skates and go.
Rebecca Vardy.
Couldn't believe what I was seeing.
It's still better than it was, though.
Oh yeah.
Imagine Kassir on that pitch last night.
Oh God,
trying to take goal kicks.
Had they have not, can you imagine though? Had they have not bought that pitch, what the other pitch would have looked like last night? It'd have been fucking brutal, man.
It was so bad, wasn't it?
House.
Yeah, was it safe?
Yeah, it would have been woods near the house. Like,
yeah, it was.
But like,
bad,
I saw someone mention it. Might have been on another podcast. They mentioned about the pitch, and they were saying the 300 grand that we spent on it. If that gives us 3 points more, and we finish a position above, it's paid for itself in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So it's virtually a no-brainer for them to do it, wasn't it?
It makes me laugh when Bielsa goes, if we keep that pitch, we're not winning another home game this season. And Rad's goes, $100 grand, go off and get me another pitch.
That's why he's going to stick around, though, man. They will do what that man wants. And that's why we've had him for as long as we've had him. And that's why I think the man is happy at the club and he's going to stay for a few more seasons.
He likes a challenge, doesn't he? And I think the next challenge for Leeds is Europe, and I think he needs a challenge to set his sights on. But just touching on the pitch one last time, it just got me onto the ground. If we're doing all this expansion, why are we not doing it while it's empty? I can't get my head round.
I think
that's true. Yeah,
the ground empty. There's going to be hell on when we are finally allowed fans back in and they close the West Stand to build on it.
Yeah.
I don't get why.
That's a great point, actually, Brownie. I didn't think of that.
The ground's been empty for a year. Just put up a stand now.
Yeah.
Do you think they were sort of waiting to consolidate in the Premier League, though? Because the worst thing is, say for example, we did start at the start of this season and we finished bottom. That all of a sudden, that investment doesn't look so clever.
I think Angus Kinnear said that, mate. He said it was all about we need to stay in the Premier League for 1-2 seasons first, then we'll get about rejuvenating Ellen Road. So it's all part of the master plan, and so far the master plan's going all right. So
So I'm really ready to these plans. Is it the West Stand they're going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'll take us up to about 50,000, I think they said. What I can't wait to do is the Twitter meltdowns in fights for tickets when there's even less available. People sat there like on the website like that, eyes bleeding in a queue.
Yeah, class. Cool. Right, I think we'll end it there. But guys, it's been a great chat. Thank you all so much for coming on. Really enjoyed it. Just it was just like having a chat with mates down the pub, which is always what you like, man. It's good. So thanks all for coming on. Make sure you check out. I was going to do it, Terry. I was.
Fair play. No worries, Joe.
I've got it written here on my notes. Brother. Good lad. But yeah, make sure you check out the Only Football Fans podcast as well. Terry started that. Plenty to get your teeth into Premier League content. And it's nice to know what's going on with other fans, and other teams and that, because obviously we're playing on them. So yeah, make sure you check out the Only Football Fans podcast, man. We'll put the link in the description as well. So do that. No worries, my man. Cool. Okay, well, we'll leave it there. It's getting on, innit? It's getting on. What's is it second half in that game? Tottenham, Chelsea? What's going on?
Hour in, 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, 1-0 Chelsea. Yeah.
1-0. Well, anyway, Lamp's gone
us on, Joe and Oscar. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it,
man.
Guys. Superb tonight.
I think Lamps might be turning up at Bournemouth anyway. That's what the noise is. I'd love him to go there. Please go there and not get him promoted. That'd be really nice. Anyway, peace out, guys. Thank you all so much for coming on. We'll end it there. Peace.